We turned $6,000 in Meta spend into $180,000 worth of revenue, but you wouldn't believe us if we told you how. In this episode, you're going to find out.
Hey everyone, welcome to Inbound Buzz. Excited to have Moby here. We're shifting roles a little bit. Moby, how are you going?
I'm good, man. It's good to be here.
I agree. Heavily carb loaded after lunch, but keen to get into this one. So today we're going to be talking about the way Meta has shifted and how that's going to be reflecting how you're communicating and advertising to your different prospects there. Meta has been really shifted on how that understanding of your target audience is situated now versus how it used to be. It used to be all about that hyper-specific targeting, eye color, where do you live, do you like puppies, are you a fan of health? But now the shift after the Andromeda update has been way more into behavioral things in the space. And what we're going to be talking about today is how we can navigate that and how we can connect to people in the new age of Meta. So Meta actually collects about 52,000 data points per users, and it can predict where you sort of are in that buyer's journey. So what we want to see is us being able to leverage the platform knowing, who's likely to buy, sort of your job to feed it the correct signals, and then we can craft the kind of messaging that they need.
Yeah, absolutely. If you've ever seen, now this is like the simplest, the dumbest way to do this, what I'm about to say. If you've ever seen those ads, they're like, hey, if you're a 50-year-old man who's struggling with weight loss, this is for you. Mm-hmm. That's done for multiple reasons. That's also, yes, they're trying to target the audience and be specific to the ICP, but the creator of the ad probably knows how the actual algorithm works. So in the creative, if you're calling out, in the video script, if you're calling out who you're targeting, it's going to help with one of those 52,000 data points. So really quick example. So I'm almost 40, right? And I'm into keto. So I've been looking for keto recipes. Now all of a sudden, I've been getting ads for things like, are you over 40 and struggling to lose weight? And I'm like a little bit low-key offended, like, what the F, man? Like,
how dare you?
Yeah, how dare you, right? But it knows like, okay, cool. This person, obviously one of the data points, obviously they know my age. Now they know what my interests are and they can draw correlations, right? They probably obviously know I'm a parent as well. So if someone has creative around losing weight so you could be there for your kids, or you can keep up with your kids, maybe that resonates with me. Now, if I was a gay dude, the creative will probably be very different. But the thing is, they know. So, but yeah, it's all in the creative. It's all about and the whole point about this before we move on is if you understand how the algorithm works, you can start seeding that into your creative.
Absolutely. And the word you said that really connected with me is resonance. That's really what we're talking about here. You don't want to try and make stuff that's going to sort of cast a really wide net, but not really mean anything to anyone in particular. We're going to talk about how we're going to be creating ads and content that's really going to resonate with your target audience. And that's where the Ad Motivator Table comes into it.
Cool. Awesome. So that's our secret sauce today, the Ad Motivator Table. And just as we sort of intro that, why do you think that's important, powerful, as opposed to the way people might be doing meta advertising right now?
A lot of the time when you're pitching ideas and you're thinking about concepts for your ads, you tend to think as the business owner. But success here is you sort of taking off that business owner's hat and really understanding the point of view of the customer. So the Ad Motivator Table, the reason why that's effective, it allows you to understand things from the actual client's perspective, what their pains are, what they're looking to avoid, what they're hoping to gain, and then getting traction from that.
Cool. So how do you want to set this up? So keeping in mind, people might be watching this maybe when we get through the end of the table, we'll throw something on screen. How do you want to talk about this? Do you want to talk about the columns in the Ad Motivator Table? Because that's obviously the tool. Or how do we want to set this up for the listeners?
How I'd look at structuring this is we're sort of going to reverse engineer. So we're looking at the different sections you're trying to reach out to. The ad angle is the end goal. And once you have an idea of sort of what you're trying to reach and who you're trying to reach, the audience, they're the key ingredients. So in this example, unfit guys wanting to look leaner before summer. And then we're going to look at what their core pain point is, what they've really had issues with. So over here, I've tried sports, but still don't look good with a shirt off. Then they'll have something that they A, aspire to, and B, fear. And you have to play in between both of those. So what would they aspire to? Here, I want to look ripped for summer and actually feel confident taking my shirt off. Aspiration versus fear. What if I put in all this energy and I don't look good by summer?
Cool. So if you're listening, just to kind of pit stop you before we go further, if we think about a table, you've got the audience, right, as column one. And in this example, unfit guys wanting to look leaner before summer. Then you've got pain point, aspiration, and fear so far. So to your point, Brendan, you got pain point. I've tried sports, but still don't look good with my shirt off. The aspiration, don't want to look ripped for summer, as you said. And then the fear, what if I put in all this effort and I still don't look good by summer? Cool. All right, keep going.
Well, and once we have that as a basis, then the ad angle has to speak to that, has to speak to what the issue that they're having is, their pain or their aspiration. Now, a lot of times people think that they'll just go from benefit, but depending on what you're trying to push, sometimes the fear-based mindset is also a good way to connect with the person. So from either of those, you're going to generate your ad angle. So here, you're probably closer than you think in terms of what you're trying to say. You're trying to make them understand they're not at 0. Maybe they're at 30 and they're trying to go to 55. And then the hook, which is generated from that is, point of view, summer's 6 weeks away and your abs finally start showing. So they see themselves as, yeah, it's actually doable. 6 weeks, I could make those changes. And then that adds that resonance.
Cool. So if I understand this correctly, Brendan, you could do one pain point, but you'd have like multiple ad angles and multiple hooks, right? Like this is just one example.
Yeah, absolutely. So you don't want to have a one and done. I mean, maybe back in the day, I'm showing my age a little bit here, maybe 10 years ago from an advertising perspective, you could have the one ad and that'd be done. But the reality of the matter is people need frequency. They need to see different stuff from you. And they go from, do I know these people, to, oh, I've seen them around before, to I see them all the time. They must be a bigger deal than I give them credit for. And in the process, you're pushing different angles, you're adding different value, you're helping them understand why you do what you do instead of just what you do. And eventually, when you've really connected with them, maybe through one touch point or many, you're going to get them over the line.
Cool. So the idea is if you've got a pain point, you could have multiple angles with multiple hooks. But if we kept it really simple, you could have a pain point, an ad angle, and then maybe like 3 hooks.
Basically.
Instance, right?
Yeah.
Test those, yeah.
Testing is key here because, again, at the end of the day, it's an assumption. You have to see what's working with them. Did you make like a 60-second video that's super engaging, but they only spent like 5 seconds on it? Maybe that's not what you show them at the beginning. Maybe you show them a few quick little things, get them intrigued, and then you're able to go ahead and show them that longer video once they are engaged.
And by the way, just to be clear, it's not about having 3 hooks in the one ad. It's each of that. So that one ad can become 3 ads with 3 different hooks.
Exactly
it's not
right.
having 3 openings. So this one, you're like, text on screen, point of view, summer 6 weeks away and your abs start showing. Maybe there's like another hook where, I don't know, like some dude is running with his kids on the beach. And yeah, so like, and then the meat of the video starts and then the call to action, of course.
Absolutely. Because then you could talk about what does fitness mean to you? And to someone who, Mobes, you have kids, you want to go ahead and like be active and engage with them versus someone who, like that suggestion said, wants to look really good on the beach. So different messages will connect more with different people, and that's what you want. You don't want a one size fits all. And the Ad Motivator Table is really going to get you there. Because Meta's at a point now where the AI is so strong, you're relying on the creative to find people, not the targeting metrics. And this, with the power of the Ad Motivator Table, will get you so much closer to a bullseye. So if anyone needs any help with the Meta account, head to our website, redpandas.com.au, and get in touch.
So the audience is people buying solar. They are actually, you tell me if this is correct. People buying solar, there's a big myth in solar, right? Because there's a lot of companies that Phoenix, like they come out there, they do really, really cheap rates, and then the ACCC shuts them down. So what they come out and do, they're like, oh, cool, we've got this warranty, right? Like it's a 30-year warranty. But that warranty is worth nothing if the business goes down. So customers will buy these cheap products, but they're being fooled. There's a myth there. Like just because this company has a 30-year warranty, that means jack if that company goes down tomorrow. So what our client was going through was they're a proper business. They were going up against these businesses who are charging like 30%, 40% less, right? So that becomes, I guess, the audience and the myth. So the pain point can be a myth, can't it? So that's the myth. Like, okay, cool. This warranty is ironclad, and it's ironclad. It will protect you. That's actually a myth. So what we actually did was we're like, okay, well, that's the myth. How do we break that? So we did a number of hooks, and we're in the meeting and the client said something like, look, it's not worth toilet paper, right? It's not worth the paper it's written on. So like, oh, that's going to be the hook. So we literally got the client to sit on a toilet, or his pants are up, and on the toilet paper was written warranty, and the camera was zoomed into warranty, and it zoomed out, and our client says, you know, the warranty isn't worth the paper that it's written on. So obviously you get it, like that's the pain point or the myth, and that's the hook that captures them.
Absolutely.
And that actually does the heavy lifting of this particular ad. And from there, I don't remember the entire script, but then it goes into like the fact that there is a big myth out there. Just because you have a warranty, it doesn't mean that you're protected. The meat of the story, obviously the fact that 700 solar companies have gone under. And then, not to get too complicated, but we did 3 different hooks, and we actually did 3 different call to actions. So now it's not 3 ads with the same meat, it's 3 times 3. It's 9 ads with the same meat. So with that example, you can see like the traditional, and I'm sure we've all seen, like if you own a home, you've probably got a solar ad, or you would have seen one. The difference, so before we started working with them, they actually had like just an image made in Canva.
Yeah.
Right. The point that people have to realize, the cost of entry now to create content, whether it's on like Canva or through ChatGPT or whatever, is really, really low. Mm-hmm. So now you have no choice to get good on creative. Now you've got no choice to have, you know, using something like a motivator table, where you take the audience, pain points or myths, aspirations, and you actually have a formula. Because you and I do this all the time, Brendan, like we see an ad, we're like, oh, we see exactly what they're doing. Yeah. There's the hook, there's that. But the point here is, before we started working with them, they actually were doing like, it was a Canva ad and solar for like, you know, $5.99 or whatever the price was, buy now. Like, that's not going to work. So you can see how going from that to something that's pain point, and if you're listening to this episode, you now know how the algorithm works. You can see how those type of ads 10x the ROI compared to what they were running before.
Absolutely. And when we're talking about this, we're also talking about that motivator table and the pain points. All that language is I, my. And when you talk in that sort of a way, you make your audience really go, yeah, you are talking to me. And you sort of enter their psyche a little bit. So your message gets really amplified. And that's where you can really have the brand and the sales targets getting hit through the ads.
The one good thing, and I'll let you wrap this up after this, is people sometimes talk about optimizing for the algorithm. But if the algorithms are getting so good that optimizing for the human optimizes for the algorithm. It's the same thing with AIO and SEO, right? Like, stop looking for hacks. So the example that you're talking about, Brendan, with the Ad Motivator Table, it's customer centric, it's pain point, aspiration led. So it's good for the audience member, like, oh yeah, that's me, I see myself there. It's good for the algorithm because of the algorithm knows those 52,000 data points. So it's a win-win. But I'll leave it to you to wrap today up.
I think you summed it up really well there. Your goal here is to be able to leverage the vast amount of knowledge that Mr. Zuckerberg in this example knows about you, and then use that to create something that's super tailored, that isn't going to feel generic, that's actually going to help your customer more. And because of that, they're going to be able to cut through everything else that's fluff and really understand what the offering is and how it's going to help them. And that's a win-win for everyone. Great chat, Mobes. And if you're listening and you need any help on the paid media side of things, reach out to us, redpandas.com.au, and we'll chat soon.
Thanks for listening to Inbound Buzz. Learn anything? Return the favor by spreading the word. Want to make your mark in digital? Need help with your digital strategy, inbound, and marketing automation efforts? Then visit redpandas.com.au and be sure to tune in next time for another Inbound Buzz hit.